Archangel Michael says, I order you to open this now. Only 3 minutes left. A person in heaven who you love very much begged to send this. Do not skip, this is urgent. God is trying to reach you. Last night your name was spoken in heaven. Did you notice that sudden ache in your heart, the unexpected pull in your spirit? That wasn't your imagination, that was the one you miss, someone who has passed on, trying desperately to send you just one final message. And when they couldn't reach you, when the silence became too much, they cried. Archangel Michael saw their sorrow and rushed forward. He pleaded with God saying, Let me go, please Father, they are not ready to lose everything. Let me be the one to take this message to them. They must open this now. There's more happening beyond the veil than you realize. Until now this message had been delayed, concealed, because receiving it too early may have shattered your trust, or made you question it. But this moment right here, is when your spirit is finally prepared to understand. That uneasiness you feel deep inside, like something big is coming. You're not wrong, it's already in motion. Someone who crossed into the next life still holds on to you tightly. They still watch over you. They still love you. They've tried to reach you again and again, through your dreams, flickers of light, cold breezes, that eerie feeling that someone is near. And every time you brushed it off. Just my imagination, you told yourself. But no, it wasn't, it was heaven, it was them. They cried out into eternity for a way to break through. And tonight heaven broke protocol for you. They were granted permission to pierce the silence. Michael says, they weren't ready to hear this from anyone else. Only you could be trusted with this truth. And so he descended himself, sword blazing, heart grieved with urgency. He's seen your recent choices. He's watched you stepping closer to a path that leads only to sorrow, regret, or loss. Heaven could no longer remain silent. Something is approaching, and sooner than you expect. 14 hours ago your name was spoken, during a divine meeting in the heavens. Not whispered, not overlooked, chosen. Chosen in power. Chosen in love. And do you know what God says? Give them one last chance, send Michael. If they open the message in time, I will rewrite their destiny. Love letter. Pause. If you're still here, this isn't random. It's confirmation, heaven is speaking directly to you now. Don't ignore the rest. Michael says, stay connected to the messages from heaven. Subscribe now, because what comes next will shake your world if you miss it. Love letter. You were never meant to carry such deep pain by yourself. That's the reason this message reached you today. That's why your heart was pulled here, why your hand tapped this exact moment. Coincidence, not a chance. This was an appointment made long ago, etched into time with fire, stardust, and divine purpose. And if you open your spirit right now, you might feel them, the one who left too soon, the one you still long for. They're right behind you whispering, please listen, I love you, and I need you to understand what's about to unfold. Michael continues, they've waited long enough. And if this message is ignored, their voice may fade forever. There will be no second attempt, this is the final plea. Heaven rarely repeats itself. The one in heaven saw what happened to you recently. They watched you cry when no one else was around. They witnessed that moment you thought you were utterly forgotten. And they shouted to the stars, please, if only they knew how close their miracle is. Because, dearest soul, the miracle isn't far, it's nearer than it has ever been. But so is the test. One wrong turn, one misstep, and everything you fought for could slip away. That's why Michael was sent, not just to alert you, but to walk beside you now. He isn't a myth, not just a figure from legend. He is very real. He's standing guard beside you, like a warrior sworn to protect royalty, because that's what you are. You are spiritual royalty. And your kingdom, it's under siege. But now it's time to rise. He whispers again, don't scroll, don't walk away. If you knew what your loved one sacrificed to get this to you, you'd fall to your knees. They pleaded, yes pleaded, in heaven's sacred halls, where voices rarely rise. They dropped down, wept, and begged for this chance. This message was not sent for the masses. It was sent for you specifically. Because you are about to uncover something life-changing, something never meant to be shown until this exact second. It was hidden to protect you. But now protection is no longer enough. Now you need truth. Michael says, this is why you felt off lately. Why your sleep has been restless. Why people suddenly disappeared from your life. Why you felt a shift in your spirit, with no explanation. Heaven has been moving the pieces. Doors closing, that wasn't rejection, it was divine redirection. Strange timings, that was orchestration from the throne. All of it designed to lead you right here. Because what is coming next, it's what your soul has been crying out to understand. Don't underestimate this. The person you love is still watching, Michael is still with you, heaven is still speaking. And right now this is your moment. The one who loves you from the other side, has seen what your eyes haven't seen, the snare being laid ahead, the charming voice concealing a dangerous plan, the silent cost of staying quiet. That's why they cried out to the heavens. That's why they called for help. And Archangel Michael answered. Michael says, I saw what they saw, and I said, send me. You've been walking through spiritual flames, fires no one else around you can see. You've laughed while your heart was breaking. You've prayed with wounds bleeding inside your soul. You've held on to pain so heavy, that no one on this earth could carry it. But heaven did, heaven held it for you. And heaven waited for this exact moment, because now you're stronger, now you're ready to receive what had to be hidden before. Michael says, there are 3 events about to unfold, and if you read this to the very end, you'll be able to recognize them for what they are. The first, a message. Someone living will reach out to you, in a way that will stop you in your tracks. Their words will sound ordinary, but they'll mirror exactly what your loved one in heaven once said. When it happens, you'll feel the truth in your spirit. You'll know it's real. The second, a person. Someone completely unexpected will show up, with kindness, just when you're at your lowest. It won't make sense, but don't dismiss them. That soul is heaven sent. Their presence is an answer to a prayer you never voiced. The third, a test. A decision will appear, disguised as something small, harmless even. But what you choose in that moment will determine the timing of what you've been asking for. It will either unlock a divine acceleration, or a delay you weren't prepared for. Now here's what Michael says, he wasn't allowed to reveal, but he's choosing to tell you anyway. If you pass this test, within the next 9 days, there will be a release from heaven, that touches 3 sacred areas, your finances, your family, and your physical healing. These blessings are not random, they are connected, coordinated, and already prepared. But you weren't originally meant to receive them. You were going to miss this. You weren't even on the list. But someone in heaven, who loves you more than words ever could, refused to stop crying out your name. They interceded every single night, pleading with God. And when heaven answered, they haven't earned it yet, that soul wept and said, then take my tears as their offering. And God says, I listened. That's why you're here now. That's why your heart feels like it's pounding out of your chest. That's why Michael's voice is thundering inside your spirit. Because this very second was written down, long ago, in heaven's calendar. You're not just being warned, you're being chosen. He repeats gently again, so you won't miss it. The first is a message. Someone alive will contact you, with words that sound ordinary, but are divine confirmation. The second is a person. Someone unexpected will show you compassion, at the exact time you need to be seen. The third is a test. A small decision will appear, but in that choice, lies a great unlocking or a painful pause. Michael says, 9 days, that's all you have. And if you make the right choice, all 3 blessings, provision, restoration, and healing, will rush in like a wave, you cannot stop. You weren't supposed to receive this. But the one you love, wouldn't stop storming heaven's gates for you. They whispered your name so many times, the angels memorized it. Their love became your second chance. And so now, Michael is still with you, standing at your back, sword raised, wings wrapped like armor. You've been targeted more times than you can count, but the attacks didn't land, not because they weren't real, but because heaven intercepted them. That sickness that never took root. That betrayal that never reached your heart. That terrible choice you nearly made. You didn't dodge them, Michael did. Quietly, relentlessly, lovingly. Without ever asking for a thank you. Because someone who loves you said, they won't hear me, but maybe they'll hear you. And now you must listen. Because what's coming isn't obvious. It won't look like a warning. It will come wearing the mask of opportunity. A person will soon enter your life, carrying what appears to be a gift, something that promises ease, hope, or relief. But hidden inside that offering, is confusion, delay, and a dangerous detour. Michael says, if you accept the wrong thing, you may unknowingly reject the very promise heaven prepared for you. This is why your spirit has been restless. Why the dreams have been strange. Why your inner voice keeps saying, wait, something's off. It's because this moment right now was marked in light, before you were even born. And the message had to be delivered, before the distraction arrived. That gift, that opportunity, that unexpected solution. You must look deeper. Heaven is giving you eyes to see. You have been prayed over for this. You've been protected for this. And that blessing that's forming. It carries your name. Your actual name, carved into it by God's own hand. But it's delicate. Not because it can be destroyed, but because it can be delayed. And you've waited long enough. Let your spirit stay awake. Let your heart remain open. The one in heaven didn't plead for your breakthrough, just to see you miss it at the final moment. This is your time to rise, to hear, to choose, and to step into what was once beyond your reach. If your spirit isn't fully awake in this moment, what was meant for you could be handed off to someone else. Michael says, this miracle, yes, the very one your heart has been waiting for, was formed by God's own hands. But if you don't step forward and claim it, heaven has been commanded to reassign it. Can you feel that urgency pressing against your chest? That's not fear, it's your legacy calling. Because this isn't only about receiving blessings, it's about securing what's meant to be passed down through your bloodline. Your legacy is at stake. The person who loves you in heaven isn't fighting for your happiness alone. They are pleading with heaven to protect the next 5 years of your life. They saw the danger ahead. They saw the hidden hands, the ones pretending to support you, smiling while secretly waiting to steal what's coming your way. Michael says, this is why the message was sealed until now. This is why it had to stay hidden. This is sacred, this is private. Michael says, don't share what you are about to receive. Not yet, not until the timing is right. You've been walking through a silence that made you whisper in prayer, God, why do I feel so alone? But the answer echoes now, straight through your soul. When God isolates you, it's not rejection, it's divine preparation. He's building something, no one else is allowed to contaminate. That's what this has been, divine protection wrapped in solitude. Your life hasn't been paused, because you were overlooked. It's been held in place by angels, because something is being prepared, that has never touched your family before. Not in this way, not this powerfully. And heaven calls it the reversal. Why? Because everything that chased the generations before you, ends with you. Every curse, every cycle, every generational wound, cut off at your feet. And the one who begged for this message to reach you, they've been waiting their whole life, to witness this moment come alive in yours. So breathe, beloved, let your shoulders relax. The next part may make your hands tremble. The one you love in heaven, they left behind more than memories. They left a truth, a confession, a message they never got to say until now. Michael says, yes, the person you just thought of, that's them. They haven't taken their eyes off of you. They've watched your pain. They've watched your growth. And they have something to say. They're proud of you. And they never stopped loving you, not even in death. They pleaded for one sentence to reach you, and heaven allowed it. If I could say just one thing, I'd tell you this, I didn't leave you, I just went ahead to make sure you'd be okay. That one line arrived, soaked in tears, from the edge of heaven itself. Because they saw it all. They saw you collapse, when no one else knew. They saw you hold back tears, with a smile in public, then fall apart in silence, behind closed doors. They saw the words you deleted, the feelings you buried. And they never looked away. Not even once. Now Michael leans in, his voice more tender yet firm. Don't look away, not now. Because the next 24 hours, they aren't ordinary. Heaven has already dispatched angels to walk beside you. You may not notice them, you might not feel them. But if you brush this message aside, they will return home. Your name will still be written in love, but your window will shift. Your miracle will wait. It won't disappear, but it will pause, until you're ready to hear again. And heaven doesn't issue warnings, without purpose. Someone near you isn't telling the whole truth. Someone you're avoiding is holding the very blessing you've been waiting for. And someone you thought was gone, is trying to return, not in body, but in message, in miracle, in motion. The soul who loves you from heaven, sacrificed something to stay near. Time, peace, maybe even a higher assignment. They stood before the throne and said, just a little longer, let me stay near them. They're almost ready, I know it. And God says, yes. Because God sees more in you, than you see in yourself. And Michael, he wasn't sent just to warn you, he was sent to prepare you. Something is about to be placed at your door. It's not only spiritual, it's tangible. It will touch your home, physically, emotionally, financially. But if your eyes aren't open, you may scroll past the very sign you were praying for. That's why this message couldn't wait for tomorrow. That's why you were pulled here right now. Because at this very second, the book of destiny is being opened, and your name is being written across a page that will seal what happens next. Every second you hesitate, that moment gets closer. Michael whispers, you were never abandoned, you were hidden. Hidden for a reason, for power, for protection, for divine purpose. And now heaven has peeled back the veil. Now the season shifts. What was locked is about to open, but only if you say yes. Only if you don't turn away. That inner voice pulling you to stay, that's not just instinct, that's them. The one you still think about, the one who left too soon, the one who whispered your name in the quiet halls of eternity. They're with you, not as a memory, not as a ghost, but as a presence. Right now. Their love wasn't erased by death. Their soul wasn't lost in the passing. And you were never created to blend in. You weren't made to follow. You were made to lead. That's why you've always felt different. That's why shallow conversations drain you. That's why your soul rejects anything that doesn't feel real. It's not ego, it's evolution. Your spirit is changing frequencies, and it's not easy. You cried about the silence, but silence was where I did the deepest work. I needed your roots to grow, beneath the surface, before I could raise anything worth keeping, above it. You weren't being ignored, you were being refined. You weren't being left out, you were being set apart. Because what I'm building in you can't be rushed, and who I'm sending to you can't be received, by the version of you that still lived in survival. So I broke what had to be broken, not to punish, but to purify. I removed what couldn't come with you. And yes, it hurt, yes, it felt unfair, but every moment of it carried purpose. God says, you weren't losing your mind, you were shedding your old self. You weren't losing people, I was removing distractions. You weren't being punished, you were being positioned. The isolation was necessary, the pain was part of the cleansing. And now you're ready. You're ready to be loved without confusion. You're ready to be valued without condition. You're ready to be chosen without games. And you're ready to receive the kind of blessing that doesn't just change your circumstances, it changes your identity. Because this next part of your journey won't require the version of you that had to beg to be seen. It needs the version of you that knows they're already held, already seen, already enough. Archangel Michael steps closer again. He places a hand over your heart, not to heal it, but to awaken it. He says, this is the moment, when everything hidden begins to rise. The gifts you doubted, the strength you forgot, the dreams you buried. All of it is coming back. But not just for you, through you. Because someone else needs the light you carry. Someone else will survive, because of the way you rose. And now heaven leans in closer. God says, you asked me if I was still with you. You begged me for confirmation. You questioned whether your prayers had disappeared into the void. But child, this is your confirmation. This moment, this message, this stirring in your soul. I orchestrated every piece of it, to meet you here. You're not imagining things. That warmth you feel, it's me. That pull toward something greater, it's divine. That ache in your heart, that longs for more. That's the echo of your purpose. I placed that within you, before you were born. I wrote it into your spirit, before anyone told you who you had to be. And now finally, you're remembering, you're reconnecting, you're waking up. The timing wasn't off. The delays weren't denials. Everything was aligning. Heaven had to prepare the stage, before you stepped onto it. And now the curtain is rising. Archangel Michael says, the divine alignment is no longer a concept, it's an unfolding reality. Stay open, stay present, stay anchored in truth, because the signs will multiply now. And you'll see them, oh you'll see them everywhere, in sudden moments of peace, in perfectly timed words from strangers, in numbers repeating, in songs that speak directly to your heart. Not coincidence, not luck, but divine precision. Evidence that the heavens are in motion, and your path is being cleared. So don't shrink, don't doubt this. You didn't make it this far, to turn around. You didn't survive all that pain, just to second guess your worth now. You were born for this part, the part where it all begins to make sense. Where every tear becomes a seed, where every scar becomes a story, where every no becomes the soil for a bigger yes. God says, you are not forgotten, you are not invisible, you are not behind, you are right on time. And everything I promised is still on its way. Just keep moving forward, keep trusting what I placed in you, keep showing up, even when it's hard, because heaven is watching and we are cheering you on. And in this sacred space, where time feels suspended, Michael lifts his sword again. Not to fight, but to declare. He declares your name into the atmosphere. He declares protection over your household. He declares favor over your finances. He declares healing over your body. He declares clarity over your mind. And most of all, he declares that you are ready. Ready to rise. Ready to receive. Ready to become. The waiting season has ended. The breakthrough has already started. You may not see it all yet, but your spirit knows. That's why you've been feeling the shift. That's why you've been sensing something new. Your soul is responding to the future, calling your name. Archangel Michael says, they've heard us, they've aligned. Now let the blessing begin. You'll begin to feel it not just in your body but in your soul. The vibration will change. What once felt heavy will suddenly lift, the ache you carried for years will begin to feel like wisdom instead of wounds. And your tears, they won't be of sorrow, they'll be of release, of clarity, of sacred remembrance. Because the one you've lost in body has been interceding in spirit, and their prayer for you was never about comfort, it was about awakening. Archangel Michael says, this is not a season of waiting, this is a season of walking. And those who wait for the perfect time will miss the divine time. Right now your name is echoing in rooms you haven't entered, your spirit is stirring waters you haven't seen, and doors you thought were sealed shut are beginning to tremble with light. But you must choose, heaven won't drag you, the miracle will not chase you. You have to move toward it not with fear but with fire. The old version of you doesn't belong in the next chapter, that's why certain relationships had to fade, why the comfort zones started to feel like cages, why your distractions became so unbearable. God says, I had to wake you up because what's coming is too holy for you to miss. That isn't pressure, it's permission, permission to rise, permission to be seen, permission to be free. Even now there's a divine pulling in your spirit, isn't there, that tug, that whisper that says, this is for you. That's not coincidence, that's them, the one who left. They've been walking with you unseen but deeply present, shifting things, blocking things, pushing you into alignment with something bigger than you imagined. You didn't lose them, they became your guide. And their silence wasn't distance, it was depth, you were being prepared in quiet, not punished. And now the preparation is ending, the unveiling begins. Michael says, your enemies have watched and waited for your collapse, but instead they will witness your rise. The next few days will be heavy with signs, so don't brush them off as random. That number you keep seeing, that song that plays at the perfect time, that message you weren't supposed to hear but did. They're pieces of a divine puzzle, and if you pay attention they'll lead you straight to the breakthrough. God says, I didn't forget your promise, I didn't abandon your prayer. I was building the answer behind the veil, now the veil is thinning. That's why you've been feeling more, sensing more, dreaming more. It's not your imagination, it's the spiritual realm making contact. And it's getting louder. But beware, this is also when the distractions increase. The enemy has studied your patterns, they know what tempts you, what frightens you, what confuses you. But they can't touch what you don't give access to. That's why this message is urgent, because a holy moment is coming that can't be delayed, and your awareness is the key. Michael's voice sharpens. You are stepping into sacred territory, and sacred territory requires sacred decisions. If you keep dancing with the old, the new cannot arrive. This is your invitation to let go, to stop negotiating with doubt, to stop explaining your journey to those who were never meant to understand it. Heaven is not asking for perfection, it's asking for participation. You are not the wounded version of yourself anymore. That part of your story served its purpose, but it does not define your identity. What's ahead of you is too significant to carry the weight of what's behind you. God says, I am rewriting your timeline. You will no longer be known for the things that hurt you, you will be known for the healing that radiates from you. Even now your home is being surrounded with angelic presence, not metaphorically, literally. There are spiritual reinforcements being dispatched to your doorstep. Your sleep will feel different, your thoughts will shift. What used to haunt you will begin to feel distant. That's not an accident, that's intervention. Michael says, you have been chosen for something that doesn't make sense to the world. Stop asking for worldly approval, heaven already said yes. And that yes has activated movement in realms you cannot see. Contracts are being cancelled, delays are being reversed, chains are being shattered. But you must choose not to look back. There will be moments when you feel tired again, when it seems like nothing's happening. Don't be fooled, silence is not absence, delay is not denial. In those moments speak the words given to you now, I am still held, I am still called, I am still covered. Speak it until your atmosphere changes, speak it until your fear melts, speak it until your past loses its grip. Because the enemy cannot stay where faith has taken root. And you, beloved, are fertile soil for divine growth. That's why the attacks have been so intense, because your breakthrough threatens the darkness. But light always wins, always. So if you've ever wondered why it had to be you, why the battles were so personal, why the pain felt so targeted, it's because your calling is personal to heaven. You are not just another soul on earth, you are an instrument of light. And the enemy knew that if you ever discovered your true power, their grip would break. And now it is. The next 7 days are pregnant with revelation. Expect the unexpected, walk with intention, listen with your spirit. Don't run from the silence, that's where the instructions will come. Archangel Michael says, you're not just being protected, you're being positioned. And the difference between almost and arrival is simply this: obedience. Heaven is watching, the angels are writing, and your name is still glowing on the page. You opened your spirit and heaven responded. And now, beloved, the winds shift not away from you but around you, clearing the path ahead, lifting what was once too heavy to carry alone. You'll begin to notice it, how people treat you differently, how certain doors that once stayed locked begin to respond to your presence. That's not coincidence, that's alignment, that's what happens when you step fully into who God made you to be. Archangel Michael says, from this moment forward you are not the same. You carry a frequency now, a divine resonance, and it is recognized in the spiritual realm. Darkness can see it, angels celebrate it, your ancestors honor it. And heaven will begin to rearrange what must shift to honor the truth you have finally accepted: you are chosen. This shift may bring silence, people may fall away, some may not understand this new peace around you, this sacred fire in your words, this stillness in your spirit. That's okay, let them go. Michael says, those who were not meant to walk with you into your healing cannot follow you now. You were not created to be understood by everyone, only to be true to what heaven whispered to your soul. And now the whisper gets louder. That dream you've shelved, take it down. That thing you told yourself was too late to begin, pick it up. That apology you've waited too long to give or receive, it's time. Everything is coming full circle, and Archangel Michael wants you to know the delays weren't denials, they were divine redirections. God says, I didn't forget you, I was preparing you. You see, the wilderness wasn't a punishment, it was a place of protection. You weren't lost, you were hidden. And now the time of hiding has ended. Your name is being spoken in rooms you've never entered, your spirit is being felt by those who haven't even met you. Because when heaven anoints someone, the ripple is felt far beyond their vision. And now, beloved, you're stepping into the ripple you created just by surviving what was sent to destroy you. Michael says, you have no idea the size of the army that has been walking with you, invisible but ever-present, shielding, guiding, covering. You thought you were weak, but the truth is you've been guarded like royalty. And now it's time you see yourself that way. Heaven's eyes are on you, not in judgment but in joy. Not because you were perfect but because you were faithful. You didn't quit, you kept showing up even when your heart felt empty, even when your prayers felt unanswered. And now heaven is answering in its own language by shifting the soil beneath your feet, by breaking chains that were never yours to carry, by opening pathways no man could force shut. Michael says, watch closely in the next few days. Something will confirm this message in a way you cannot deny. A phrase, a sign, a name, something only you and heaven would recognize. When it happens, don't doubt, just say thank you and keep walking. Because what's coming isn't small. It's restoration in places you forgot were broken, it's love that feels like home, it's provision that makes no sense on paper, it's peace that surpasses understanding. And it's here not because you chased it but because you chose healing, you chose truth. You chose to believe one more time that God wasn't done with you yet. And God says, I'm not, in fact, I'm just beginning. Archangel Michael stands behind you now, his presence no longer just a voice but a covering, a force of unwavering protection and love. His wings stretch wide not to block you but to declare over the heavens that one more soul has awakened. And now, beloved, the script is yours, the pen is in your hand, and the next chapter begins not with fear but with power. Take a breath, look around. What once felt empty is now holy, what once echoed with loss now rings with purpose. Because you opened the message, you received it, you believed it. And now nothing will ever be the same. Because you are ascending into the life that was always meant for you. Not a borrowed life, not a shadow of someone else's dream, but yours, fully and divinely authored. This ascension is not loud, it is not chaotic, it is quiet, holy and undeniable. And as your spirit rises, so too do the blessings that have waited patiently for your yes. They've been circling, hovering just outside the timeline you once thought was set in stone. But time bends for those chosen by God, and now it bends for you. Archangel Michael stands still for a moment longer, letting the light from his wings pour over the path in front of you. And you'll notice, beloved, that it no longer looks the same. The road that once seemed impossible, cluttered with fear and delay, is now illuminated, clear, wide and holy. What was once hidden is now revealed, what once felt like wandering is now revealed as divine detour. The steps you took blindly were not in vain. Every tear, every prayer, every silent scream in the night has led to this unveiling. And God says, "Look now, child, see how heaven has rearranged itself for you. That job you thought you lost forever, it wasn't denial, it was redirection. That relationship that ended so painfully, it wasn't abandonment, it was protection. That silence you endured, it was preparation. Because now that you carry the scroll, now that the crown rests upon your head, you will understand what was once misunderstood. You'll see clearly the why behind the waiting." Archangel Michael gently places something at your feet. You don't see it with your eyes, but your spirit recognizes it instantly. It's authority. Not borrowed, not temporary, but divine authority that comes from spiritual maturity. The kind of authority that makes darkness step back when you enter a room. The kind that speaks life over situations that once felt lifeless. The kind that reminds every lying spirit, "I know who I am now and I'm not backing down." This, beloved, is your activation. And the heavens are rejoicing, not just because you heard the call, but because you believed it was for you. Because for years they watched you disqualify yourself, they watched you shrink to fit places you had outgrown, apologize for your light, play small for the comfort of others. But no more, that season has expired. This is your era of enlargement, expansion, and elevation. And even though some people won't understand how you got here or why the winds favor you now, that's not your burden to carry. Because God says, "I am the one who lifts, I am the one who validates, I am the one who chooses." And you, precious soul, have been chosen for such a time as this. You will begin to see confirmations in rapid succession, dreams that make sense, prayers that echo in real life, strange coincidences that feel too perfect to be random. Do not second guess these. They are not tricks of the mind, they are the signs Archangel Michael promised, and they are coming in waves. Pay attention. Every feather you find, every time a clock stops at a repeating number, every lyric that echoes exactly what your spirit was whispering, it is all heaven speaking back. And beloved, you're not walking forward alone. The scroll may now be in your hands, but the hosts of heaven walk beside you. You are surrounded by ancestral strength, by angelic forces assigned to your journey, by divine intelligence that knows the traps ahead and has already cleared the way. What was once delayed is now being delivered, what was once fragile within you is being fortified. Archangel Michael leans in once more, this time not to deliver a warning or a command, but a gentle reminder: you don't have to force what God has already ordained. Rest, child, you've labored long enough. Let those words settle in your bones, rest. Not because you're giving up, but because heaven has taken over. Your striving season has ended and your receiving season has begun. And even now something within you knows this isn't just another motivational message. This is sacred, this is spiritual, this is supernatural. You can feel it in your chest, in your palms, in your breath, that tingling awareness that something ancient has shifted. That the winds are no longer blowing against you but lifting you. Because when God rewrites a destiny, even gravity must obey. So don't be surprised when favor finds you in unexpected places. Don't flinch when doors swing open without effort. Don't retreat when people say, "You've changed," because you have, and that change was necessary. The healed you cannot live in the same place as the broken you once survived. And that's okay, release it all. You owe no one an explanation for your glow. From this point forward you walk with eyes wide open. You'll spot manipulation quicker, you'll feel misalignment instantly, you'll know the difference between what serves your soul and what drains it. This is discernment, and it has been sharpened through every trial you thought would break you. You didn't just survive, beloved, you transformed. And God says, there is more, much more. This was not the final promise, this was the beginning of divine multiplication. The blessings will not come one by one, they will come layered, stacked, overflowing. You will have to create new containers, new structures, new habits to hold what is being poured out. Do not shrink, do not sabotage, do not apologize. You were built for this. And the one who doubted their worth, they are no more. That version of you has been laid to rest in honor, not shame. And rising now is the truest expression of your soul, powerful, chosen, awake. So remember this, heaven never sends a message just to inspire you, it sends it to activate something ancient, something sleeping within your soul. And now that it's awake, it can't be silenced again. You've stepped into a holy echo, a moment that will ripple across realms you cannot see but will soon feel. Every word you've just received has rewired something spiritual within you. This wasn't emotion, it was impartation. A divine thread has been stitched into your heart and it's tethered to eternity now. This is what Archangel Michael came for, not to comfort you with empty promises but to awaken you with holy truth. And the truth is this: you were never forgotten, you were never overlooked, you were never too broken, too lost, or too late. That lie was the enemy's last attempt to distract you before the divine turning point arrived, and it just did. Archangel Michael says, you've crossed a threshold tonight. The light has touched your shadow, the healing has kissed your wound. You may not see the full miracle yet, but make no mistake, it has already begun. That is not just poetic sentiment, that is spiritual law, and heaven doesn't lie. God says, beloved, I've waited for this moment. I've watched you fall asleep crying, I've seen you whisper prayers no one else could hear, and I've counted every sigh, every tear, every silent surrender. And now I respond not with just comfort but with change. The winds are shifting, there is a crack in the atmosphere around you where light is starting to pour in, and it won't stop now. Everything that once blocked your vision, every lie, every fear, every shame-covered memory, it's dissolving in the presence of this truth: you are still chosen, you are still covered, you are still held. Your person in heaven knows. They felt it too the moment your soul opened. And with holy tears in their eyes they whispered your name once more, this time with a smile. Because now they know you're listening, you're no longer numb, you're no longer shut down, you're softening again, healing again, rising again. They've been waiting for this, for you to finally hear them, not with your ears but with your heart. And now that you have, they will not stop. Their prayers have paved the road ahead of you, their blessings are woven into your future, their love is still alive, alive in God's memory, alive in your destiny. Archangel Michael has not moved from your side. He stands firm, glowing, radiant, mighty, not as a symbol but as a shield. Every force that once tried to break you is now standing down, every storm you weathered has been silenced, every curse is being reversed, every promise is on its way with acceleration. And even though your mind may still question it, your spirit knows this is true. That tremble in your hands, that heat in your bones, that sudden wave of tears you can't explain, that's divine recognition. You've touched the edge of heaven's robe tonight. And heaven responded. God says, now watch. Watch how I restore what was stolen, watch how I vindicate what was misjudged, watch how I redeem what was broken. You don't need to figure it all out, just stay open, just say yes, just trust that I don't waste pain, I repurpose it. And when the morning comes, something will be different. You may not see it in your reflection, but your spirit will know. The weight will feel lighter, the air will feel clearer. You'll walk through the day with a quiet power, a holy defiance, a gentle authority that wasn't there before. Because you won't just be surviving anymore, you'll be embodying the miracle that was written over your life before your first breath. Heaven has already started rearranging the pieces. People are waking up with your name on their heart, opportunities are circling back that once slipped away, the favor you forgot was even promised is returning multiplied. Your house is being blessed, your name is being cleared, your path is being lit. And every angel assigned to you is now moving in unison to align you with everything you were once too weary to believe for. But now you believe. You do, even if it's just a flicker, it's enough. Faith doesn't need to shout, it only needs to whisper, and you whispered yes. And that whisper echoed through eternity, it reached the courts of heaven, it was recorded by angels, it was celebrated by saints, it was felt by the one you've been missing, the one still cheering you on from the other side. And now Michael says, your name is not just known in heaven, it is honored, it is guarded, it is safe. You've crossed over, you've said yes. And everything from this moment forward will be colored by that decision. It won't always be easy, but it will be guided. It won't always be loud, but it will be holy. And in your quietest hours you'll feel it, that hum of glory in your chest, that sacred echo in your breath. Beloved, tonight was not ordinary. This was a celestial exchange, this was a holy visitation, this was heaven remembering you out loud. Amen.